Hey gang, Mark Sweeney here from Austin Dental Spa in lovely but chilly Austin, Texas. We got a cold front coming in last night and it dropped down into the 30s actually for the first time this winter. So if you tuned in last week, you know what our theme for the month of December is. It's December Dreamin'. And so today we're going to jump right along with that same thought process. Last week we talked about dreams and how to make them more positive and how to make them work for you a little better. We're going to get to that in the health tip. But this week is no different. We've got a brand new study that was just come out from the University of California Irvine. University of California is like Texas. They've got 6 different campuses all around the state. So this is from UC Irvine. The lead researcher actually was doing PhD research there, a doctoral research, and now he's at Harvard doing postdoctoral research. And so it's a very interesting study on how your dreams can influence your emotions and your recall. So we're going to get to that in a second, but like I said, it is December. We got a couple of more Wednesdays in December. If you're a first-time Wisdom Wednesday tune in, then we do a little scientific presentation on something that will hopefully improve your life and elevate things for you. And then I do a health tip at the end. And so we try to have a lot of fun. It's not always just about teeth. And in fact, today's no different. So let's get right to the main topic. This is out of the UC Irvine Sleep and Cognition Lab. And it was actually published in a magazine called Scientific Reports. So it's official stuff, and I think you're going to enjoy this. It's about the trade-off when you've got emotionally charged memories and what your brain does about them, traumatic events or things that you're just feeling really passionate or strong, positive or negative, and we're going to get into that in a second, and how interpreting your dreams and influencing the way that you dream and chronicling that can actually influence the way you process that. So what they did, I got a kick out of this. The lead author, the guy I mentioned earlier that was at at UC Irvine and now is at Harvard doing postdoctoral research, got my attention. Jing Zhang. Jing Zhang is the person's name. He's now a PhD doing postdoc research at Harvard. But he said that dreaming after an emotional experience might actually help us feel better in the morning. So how did they figure this out? Well, this is another interesting part. The study involved 125 women. Why they chose to choose all women? Probably because they couldn't get the men to write about their dreams the next morning or even admit that they had negative feelings about anything. But for whatever reason, it's 125 women, all in their 30s, all somewhere between 30 and 39. So that was their slice of a study. So that's a big enough study, 125 people. About half of them were right there in Irvine and slept in their lab and reported things from there. The other half did it remotely. They were checking in on Zoom. So what they did is they showed these 125 women images, like 9 images, before they went to bed at night. And some of them were traumatic or like car accidents and stuff. And some of them were neutral, like a field of grass, just something fairly neutral. And then they gave them another report after showing them these photos, and they asked to rate from 1 to 9 what level of emotion that evoked, negative or positive, 9 being the most positive. And so they had them rate them all. Then they showed them another group of photos. Some of them, most of them, apparently over half of them were brand new. They weren't part of the original ones. but nearly half of them were repeats of the ones that they had already seen. And they wanted to just test if they rated them a little different after going through it the first time and then rating them. They showed them another group and then they rated those. And then they let them go to sleep. So apparently they did this rating system right before bedtime. And then they slept. And then in the morning, they asked them if they could recall whether they dreamed or not, and whether the dreams were positive or negative. And then they gave them another set of images, and then they did the same thing, rate them positive or negative, and then they showed them the second group of images, some of them being the same ones as before. So they repeated the same thing they'd done before they went to sleep and after. And what they found, which I thought was really great, is they found that the participants who reported dreaming had better recall, whether it was positive or negative dreaming. They had a better recall and were less reactive to the negative images over the neutral ones. So they rated whether they felt more negative or more positive than the neutral ones, both before they went to sleep and after it. And they found that the ones who slept and had positive dreams actually rated the negative ones less negative and the positive ones more positive, and the neutral ones kind of stayed the same. So it gives some insight into the active role that dreams can play. They've never been able to test this kind of stuff before, but that during the sleep, they had to put a ring on that monitored their sleep patterns so that the researchers could tell when they went into deep sleep, which is when you do your most dreaming. There's rapid eye movement sleep. There's like 4 or 5 stages of sleep now, but it's only in the deep sleep period that people dream. And so they could tell when they were in that period, and then it was all subjective as to was it positive or negative, and how much do you recall of your dreams? But it's interesting to me as a dentist, scientist, medical person to realize that they're starting to get onto a whole new group of studies with this. This is just the first one. There will be many more of how the dreams could potentially influence the way you see the world around you the next day, more positive or more negative. And so I'm sure there will be more studies coming out of this group. So interesting stuff. Try to control your dreaming and keep it to positive stuff. That's going to segue into my health tip. Last week we talked about the importance of facing your fear of failure and facing your fear of success. Researchers found that either one can affect you. So today we're going to talk about 2 different things: cultivating your confidence by thinking about, before you go to sleep at night, what have I done right? What positive things have happened in my life? And try to set yourself up to dream positive things by thinking about those positive things. Did you have a mentor in your life that showed you the way, that demonstrated for you how it could be done so that you could duplicate that? I used to call it catch a rising star. And I found plenty in my early career in dentistry that I identified about 5 mentors here in town that had great practices that I wanted to be just like them, and surpassed them a couple of years ago because they quit practicing, and technology and all the other things that happened during my career allowed me to advance beyond where they had gone. Now I've got 2 young doctors working for me that seem to like the way that I do things and are learning verbiage that works, that helps people understand what's going on in their mouths and why they should do the dentistry now instead of putting it off. So that's one thing, is cultivating your confidence. The second thing is using your imagination. You've probably heard about visualizing. Well, this is a lot of the same thing. It's about visualizing, what do you really want to do? What do you see your life turning out to be? And trying to make that as positive as possible. And then using your imagination to visualize those things even before they've happened so that you can measure how close am I tracking to the way that I really want my life to turn out. I've heard an old saying that if you have a good idea of what you want to do, the best way to achieve it is to just not do anything that doesn't serve that purpose and to focus all your attention and energies onto things that do serve that. So pretty simple concept, but amazing how many people do not follow that advice. So that's it for Dreamin' Big for this week. I'll see you next Wednesday for another version of Wisdom Wednesday.